It's that time again. Episode 73 of Midweek News coming at you. Let's get started. Flatseal, the tool you need for managing Flatpak Permissions. Flatseal is a graphical application for Linux that gives you finer control over apps you have installed via Flatpak. Open source versus Microsoft. This article from the Register goes into some more detail about the German state of Schleswig-Holstein switching to Linux and what Microsoft has to lose with this transition if it happens to succeed. Backblaze Cloud Storage adding event notifications. You can now trigger events to happen on Backblaze, for instance, when uploading a file completes. This can be useful if you are uploading video files and wanted to trigger some sort of processing of the uploaded files. This feature is currently in private preview, but there is a waiting list to join if you're interested. Filezilla 3.67 Client has been released. This version fixes a PuTTY private key recovery vulnerability, CVE 2024-31497. The official binaries are now built against GNU TLS 3.8.4. Dust, a tool to display disk usage in a tree hierarchy. The name Dust comes from the du command and the Rust programming language. This might make a nice alternative to the ncdu utility for times when you don't want or need the interactive capabilities of that utility. Dust is available for Linux and macOS. Firefox 126 is in beta. The new version will reportedly bring a reworked dialog for clearing user data. If the screenshot in the article is to be believed, the new dialog will more closely resemble the one in Chrome. There are also some behind-the-scenes features being added that are mainly useful for web developers. You could check the article or wait for the new release and check the release notes if you want more information. VirtualBox 7.0.16 released with additional support for Linux 6.8 and 6.9 kernels. This release also adds the ability to prevent the VirtualBox kernel module from loading during system boot. The new release should also be more stable on some AMD systems. Also introduced are general audio improvements, graphic enhancements for Windows guest editions if you're running Windows in a VM, and other minor improvements. Microsoft releases preview version of Office 2024 for Windows and macOS. If you're someone who is mandated to use Office, or you are just used to it, you could try out the preview of the 2024 version right now. I have to say that the Microsoft loves Linux mantra is a little weak if they're not willing to bring Office to Linux. How CP/M launched the next 50 years of operating systems. While I don't want to take away from the accomplishments of the late Dr. Gary Kildall, this article focuses on the microcomputer side of things and doesn't seem to take into consideration how Unix was also shaping many operating systems to come after it. Fun fact, CP/M first booted in the fall of the year I was born. Audacity 3.5 has been released. Some new features include cloud saving, beat detection, pitch shifting, exporting subtitles to WebVTT and subrip formats, and support for Wayland on Linux. It's available now for Linux, macOS, and Windows. An old Windows print spooler bug is the target of Russian hacking group Fancy Bear Gang. The print spooler bug, listed as CVE 2022-38028, can be exploited by modifying a JavaScript constraints file and executing it with system-level permissions. It's time to either patch or disable the print spooler, especially if you're running an older version of Windows and still have it connected to the internet. And finally, Qemu 9.0 has been released with more than 2,700 commits from 220 authors. Qemu is used extensively in virtualization products such as Proxmox and UTM on macOS. If Qemu isn't included in the next Proxmox release, certainly by the fall there will be a release with a 9 series Qemu incorporated into it. And that's going to wrap things up for this week. I'm sure I'll see some of you tonight for the live stream. Have a great day.